Welcome to the Blood Moon Archives, home to real-life encounters of things that go bump in the night. These aren't just stories. These are true horrors that will haunt you long after the screen fades to black. So lock your doors, close the curtains, and keep those lights on. Let's get into it. The Hollow Tree by runner 156945. Location: Central Kentucky. I never expected a walk through the woods to turn into something I wouldn't forget. It all started on one of those late summer evenings when the heat starts to fade and the forest smells a little sweeter, like it's settling in for the night. I was hiking alone, just trying to clear my head after a long week. I've always loved wandering through the trees, hearing the crunch of leaves, feeling the rough bark beneath my fingers. That day, I was on a trail I hadn't explored before, a quiet patch of woods about an hour out of town. The sun was dropping low, casting long shadows across the forest floor, and I was just about to turn back when I saw it. This huge, ancient tree standing off the trail by itself. It wasn't just big, it was enormous. A giant oak or something like it, with thick roots digging deep into the ground. What caught my attention wasn't just the size, though. It was the hollow in its trunk. A perfect dark opening, at least 5 feet wide, like the tree had swallowed something whole and was keeping it inside. I stepped closer, curiosity pulling me in. It was quiet around the tree, almost too quiet. The usual birds and bugs had gone silent. As I neared the hollow, I heard it. A low, almost painful groaning noise coming from inside the tree. It wasn't wind, and it wasn't animal sounds. It was this deep, rumbling sound that shook the air a little. I thought maybe it was just the tree moving in the breeze, but the day was still. No wind. I leaned in, peering into the dark hollow. It was big enough to crawl inside. I reached out to touch the rough bark, then the edge of the hollow, and the groaning stopped, just like that. The woods went quiet again. It felt like the tree was listening. I stepped back, heart pounding a bit, and made a mental note to come back with some gear. That night, I went back with my camping gear, a flashlight, and my voice recorder, just in case. I set up camp near the tree, close enough to hear any noises, but far enough to feel safe. The sun set fast, and the woods went dark except for the faint light of my small campfire. I sat there for a while, staring at the hollow. As the night deepened, the groaning started again. Slow, low, and steady, almost like the tree was breathing. Then, as I watched, I heard something else. Whispering. Soft voices coming from inside the hollow. I couldn't make out words, but they were definitely there, overlapping, like a crowd speaking quietly all at once. Then came the screaming. It wasn't loud, more like muffled, scared screams, like someone trapped far away, or maybe inside the tree. The whispers and screams mixed, rising and falling in waves, making my skin crawl. I grabbed my flashlight and shined it into the hollow, but I only saw darkness. The hollow was deep, too deep to see the bottom. I tried to record the sounds, hoping to listen later and figure out what was going on. But every time I hit record, the whispers stopped. When I paused, they started again. It was like the tree knew I was listening. I spent hours sitting by the fire, listening to those strange noises, feeling more and more like I was part of something I didn't understand. At one point, the whispering got clearer. I thought I heard my name, just barely, like a breeze carrying a secret. I told myself I was imagining things, but the feeling stuck with me. Morning came slowly, I didn't sleep much. The groaning stopped with the dawn, and the woods woke up again. Birds started singing, and the wind picked up. I packed up and decided to take a closer look inside the hollow before leaving. Using my flashlight, I crawled into the tree's hollow. It was cold and smelled like earth and old wood. I could feel the tree's rough walls on either side, and the ground was damp with moss and dirt. That's when I noticed them. Claw marks. Deep scratches gouged into the inside bark, running up and down the hollow walls, like something had tried to claw its way out. The marks looked fresh, like they'd been made recently, not old growth. Then, at the base of the hollow, right where it opened to the forest floor, I saw it. My name, carved into the wood. Just my first name, in shaky, uneven letters, as if someone desperate had tried to write it by hand. I froze. How could my name be there? I hadn't told anyone about this tree. I haven't been around people who could have done it. I don't know if it was a prank or something darker, but the carving looked real. Fresh cuts, little bits of bark still hanging off the edges. I scrambled out of the hollow, heart hammering, and looked around the clearing. There was no one there. No footprints except mine. No signs of campfires or anything. I packed up my gear quickly and started walking back to the trailhead. I kept looking over my shoulder, expecting to see something following me. I heard the groaning again as I moved away, like the tree was mourning or warning me. Since that night, I haven't gone back. I told a few friends about it, but no one believes me. They say it's just my imagination, that the tree was making natural noises. Maybe it was, but I swear to you, the whispering, the screaming, the claw marks, those aren't natural. And my name, carved into that tree, that's the part I can't explain. Sometimes, when I'm alone in my apartment at night, I think I hear that low groaning again, or a faint whisper calling my name. I tried to tell my friend once, but they laughed like I was telling a joke. It wasn't a joke. I don't know what's in that tree, or why it called me there, but I know it's still waiting. Well, you've heard the truth, but remember, not every story ends when the video does. Some stories follow you home, into the dark corners of your mind. If you've made it this far, you might just be brave enough to face what's next. If you want to hear more of these terrifying tales, and perhaps awaken something, you shouldn't. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. You'll want to know when the next nightmare arrives. But be careful. Once you step into the darkness, it's not always easy to find your way out.